Ben was going to be here.
Who?
Ben.
Vin? Vin?
Ben.
I don't know.
He was on the Big Show earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, he was.
Not the Big Show.
Yeah,
Big
he was on the Big Show.
Oh, the Big Show. Okay. No, not the Big Show.
You know, Warren, it's the show that's big.
It's a big one. Yeah, that's all I know about that. But I'm
That's
assuming
all
it's
you
big.
need to know.
I'm assuming it's big. Why is my monitor so dim? Hold on one second.
I did email.
Probably because you're drawing so much power, there isn't enough electricity
Yeah, it's
to
struggling.
fully run your displays.
That I believe. Let's see.
Do you have a cell number? Ben?
Oh,
I do not.
I can only email him.
these dreams go on.
That's what you singing that song from 1986.
Oh, for me? I was just playing it. That's what I do.
You may have to go without him.
This one sounds great too.
Serenading. Oh my God.
It's too much fun.
Warren, the ballad man.
Yes, he is. We'll just go ahead and go without him.
You're bringing my childhood back to life.
Name a song. I'll play it. Well, we don't want Dave to get pinged on YouTube, so
Right.
we'll change the lyrics a little bit.
That'll still be the melody.
Yeah. Really? What about people who do parodies?
They ding you.
They ding you. Yeah.
So you can't do a parody anymore on YouTube?
YouTube's algorithms don't care or
Used to be able to.
distinguish. So yeah, so like if you do your own parody of Thriller,
All right.
and
It sounds too much like it.
and well and the music part sounds like Thriller, then YouTube's algorithm is going to flag it. And so what happens is that people that are doing covers or legitimately using someone else's music with licensing, they end up getting a written contract or agreement of some sort from the license holder showing that they're okay to use the music or the likeness of the music. And then when they get hit with the takedown automatically from the algorithms, then they produce the document showing that it was okay for them to use the music. And
isn't
then,
TikTok just like full of, I mean, I know it's TikTok, but isn't TikTok just full of other people's music?
TikTok allows it though. They have
well,
licensing.
TikTok is I believe letting you select the music you want to play from their pre-approved list, which means it's already been pre-licensed to be used on TikTok.
So if
I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing.
Great. Greedy passages. Greedy passages.
Dag nabbit.
Shake my fist at YouTube's crappy algorithms.
I can do Thriller.
So more the even crappier thing about YouTube's knee-jerk reaction or response is that people that are creating music using loops and GarageBand get takedown notices.
Right, because a loop is music from other people, like the Lady Gaga loops and all that stuff. Well,
No,
maybe.
just the regular built-in loops.
Oh,
Yeah, the stuff that everyone has free license to use any way they want. And
So-
to make it even worse, there are people that have posted like the loops as individual recordings,
hmm.
and then they do the takedown
So-
in an effort to get people to pay up for using loops and samples that are freely available to use as you please in GarageBand.
But but they just, when you say take them down, I mean, you don't get fined, right? I mean, I guess if you don't take it down eventually, but everybody's just going to take it down. So, like, has anybody gotten to a point where they refuse to take it down? And what does YouTube do? Like, what does Google do?
No, YouTube takes it down, and then you have to
Oh, okay.
convince them to put it live again.
So the worst that they're going to do is just take your video down, more or less.
The worst they'll do is shut you down
Your
and
video.
kill your channel.
Oh, the whole channel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you keep doing it.
Yeah. So there are people who have legit licensed content on their sites where they're terrified that they're going to get like another hit from YouTube, and then their whole channel, their whole account will get shut down, even though everything they have is legit, because they keep getting a hit with takedowns.
All right.
And the crappy thing about that is, if YouTube takes them down, that's it. They're probably just down forever.
I mean, you could always start another channel, right? I mean,
Yeah, but if you have a ton of followers
you can lose all those followers.
and you've been monetizing,
right. But
and-
if you're willingly doing this and you know that you might get taken down, that's
what I mean, it's the people that are doing it legitimately, where they have the licensing for the content. These are people that are genuinely scared that YouTube's just going to shut them off,
right.
which it just sucks. Yeah, I mean, if you're ripping stuff off, okay, that's all on you, and you deserve to get shut down.
Oh, yeah. And there's a fine line between ripping it off and just kind of playing around, and
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, again, it's
Yeah,
there used to be-
I'm talking about the people that are like really just ripping off music.
Yep.
Those people deserve to get shut down because they're stealing. The people that are doing fair use kind of stuff, noodling around with sampling.
these aren't people that are creating this kind of music. It's people that's just using it in their videos. Because if you're creating music like that, then you're not really ripping it off. You're covering it. So right. So there's if you sing a cover of a song, you're acknowledging that you're doing a cover of a song. You're not ripping it off. If you have a video of us playing around and we play like Footloose in the back, are we ripping it off or just having, I'm not even sure how you would rip it off.
Well, if you're doing a cover of a song, you still need to have licensing rights.
Just on YouTube, not in real life. I mean, I could go to a bar and sing a song,
True. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yep. YouTube is relentless with that.
I guess they don't want to be sued by the artist, and I guess that's their feeling. Because YouTube has money, Google has money, and Rick Astley doesn't have any. So if somebody's doing Rick Astley, never going to give you up. Rick Astley's going to say, "Hey, Google, give me some of that money."
Oh, that Rick.
Yeah, that Rick
He's going to Rick roll you.
On that roll, let's get started.
He's going to roll you. All right,
here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 223 of Untouchable iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and Jeff Gammett's back on the show. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, and it's great to see both of you.
Yes, great to see you. And Warren Sklar is here as always. How you doing, Warren?
As always. It sounds good, doesn't it? It's been a run. Yeah, it's good to be back and good to talk.
Yeah, there's a good amount of stuff to talk about this week. Got some news stories. We're going to talk about beta. Beta's been pretty active this past week. Some new things they found. Hit some other stories. Talk about the cellular carriers and the Apple Watch and everything we always talk about here. So, but let's jump right into the stories this week. And I keep adding sadness to Jeff, and now the dark sky now has been removed from the iOS App Store ahead of the upcoming shutdown.
It's a dark day.
The dark sky weather app, which is owned now by Apple, is no longer available for download in the US App Store, suggesting that it has been removed ahead of schedule. Of course, we know Apple acquired dark sky back in March of 2020 and has incorporated a lot of the elements to it, but we know, Jeff, that it doesn't beat what it does. It's going to be sad when it's
It's
gone.
not the same as dark sky. I think Apple is taking these steps in in the time frame that they are, so that just as the sting starts to subside a little bit, they find a new way to pour salt in to that wound for me.
Yeah.
The big problem that I'm having with Apple's weather app is that it doesn't really do hyperlocal weather. And
Right.
yeah, I can compare the temperature that I have at my place in dark sky and in the weather app, and the weather app is never the same.
Yeah, and especially this week, I was thinking about that. Our thoughts and prayers are with all of our friends in South Florida,
Yeah.
Southwest Florida. It's been Hurricane Ian just
Ian.
just devastated the state of Florida, and it's turned back as a hurricane as we record this, moving up the coast and going to hit South Carolina, I think, as we're recording here. So our thoughts and prayers, and yeah, the dark sky app would have come in handy to look at some of that data that it was showing much more accurately than.
I've said
Yeah.
this before, and I'll say it just one more time again. I just don't understand how this one app could have been the only possible true source of accurate forecasting. I mean, it just seems like this would be a public realm thing. But I mean,
And yet
I-
here
I-
we are.
There's
just
lots
don't
of
under-
fans. Jeff's not the only one. I've been a fan too.
I understand that, but why can't somebody just create something called darker skies and use the same algorithm that dark sky used and just roll it out? I just, again, they didn't pull the data out of, well, they did, they pulled it out of the air per se, but
Oh.
but they, the data came from somewhere, and this is not like super secret information that this company has. It's
No,
again,
I mean, they were very, very upfront about the fact that they're using Weather Underground for a lot of that content, because
Right.
Weather Underground is aggregating information from people that are submitting data from their home weather stations. And
yeah.
and yet trying to find an app that works as reliably and accurately as dark sky does has turned out to be a lot more difficult than you would expect.
So is dark sky kind of like Waze, where it's user fed?
Well, in one sense, I mean, because they are getting the Weather Underground data that's coming from local people submitting information automatically from weather sensors, but they're also getting it from the official weather sources. So they're aggregating information from multiple sources.
And then when Apple bought this technology, they just didn't incorporate all that technology that they had, and they just didn't.
Apparently not. And
Yeah.
and for a lot of people, hey, if the weather or the temperature that you're seeing at your home is several degrees off from what you're actually experiencing, it's no big deal. But when you live in a place where you can have radical weather and temperature differences within a few blocks of where you are, it starts to become more important.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I get it, because like Waze is the de facto traffic app at this point, considered. I mean, basically everybody's, it's sort of the authority on traffic because that's
Yeah,
what it is.
because there's real-time data being fed into it.
Right. So if Google, so I mean, in this situation, if Apple bought Waze, which they wouldn't because Google has it, but and did the same thing, I just, you would think another company would come along and say, let's try again, but because it worked. Anyhow, it's interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Dark Sky isn't the only hyperlocal weather app out there. Just for whatever reason, it's the one that's doing it right,
Right.
or at least will be
Right.
doing it right until the end of the year.
But that's why Apple bought them, I'm guessing, because they
Oh yeah,
they had good
because
info.
Dark Sky was the app to have.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely no question.
Dave's playing video games.
I don't know what he's doing.
I have lost my AirPods. Hold on.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
lost
So
them.
Warren,
didn't
it's
know
now you and me.
these are
Warren,
Now
what's
what-
your favorite keyboard?
well, I'm not getting AirPods too, obviously, because that's what Dave has in his ear. We were going to talk about them, and obviously they don't work so well, so I'm not going to do that.
Right. Yeah. No,
Ugh.
seriously, what's your favorite keyboard?
In here,
Mhm.
so I got this guy, probably my favorite. It's a Casio Privia, and it's really I got it used. It's normally 1,500. I got it for like
The other ones will work.
7 or 8. You back?
So what makes it the best for you?
Just sounds great. Feels great. I mean, it's all about sound and hammer action and how it feels, and
Mm-hmm.
so the sound of it. It's a big guy too. It's my biggest one here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So full size keyboard.
Oh yeah. And so-
Okay, I'm back here. And
Okay.
so let's move on to the next story. Next story is Apple TV confirms Mythic Quest, Little America, Slow Horses, and the Mosquito Coast new season release dates. They announced
one
it
show?
today as we record this on Twitter. All those shows have some release dates. It's not clear what the plot of the third season is going to be for Mythic Quest, but that is a fun show, as well as Little America is an interesting show that's going to be returning December 9th of this year, 2022. Slow Horses will be December 2nd, and Mosquito Coast will be November 4th. So Mythic Quest is going to be on November 11th, and there's going to be a lot of great shows. It continues on with Apple TV and keeps evolving. Do you watch any of these shows, Warren?
I did Mythic Quest, but I didn't do last season for some reason. I started it and didn't get through it. None of the others at all. Never even watched the Mosquito Coast movie, I don't think. So I have no idea about that. I think it was Harrison Ford, right? That did that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mythic Quest was cute. I don't remember I don't know, the third season just didn't take off for me. I like the COVID special that they did. That was cute.
Yeah.
The one episode COVID thing. That was kind of neat. But yeah, this is not my my headline for me to watch Apple TV at this point. So for these shows.
Oh, we're waiting for Ted Lasso.
We're waiting for Ted Lasso, and anything else on Apple TV that we're watching that's good. I could just
Slow
finish
Horses
something.
is good. I really enjoyed that.
Is it good? I never. We
Yeah.
just. You know what we watched? We watched. God, the guy, the Richard Joel. The guy who played Richard Joel, and he was Bird. Not Bird. God, where he has to go pretend to go to jail. Well, he goes to jail to infiltrate this guy, who's a killer. And it was good. I'll pull it up in a second. But if you saw the movie Richard Joel or Cobra Kai, the guy with the beard, that's the guy who was in this. What was that called? And with the guy from Rocket Man, Egon.
Egon Spengler.
Not Spider.
you Hold that thought. If you remember, you can tell us. We'll go
Yeah,
ahead and move on to the next story here. iPhone 14 Max references were found on Apple's website, plus name seems to be a last-minute decision. While Apple opted to name the larger base model iPhone 14 the Plus, it was widely referred to as the iPhone 14 Max in media reports ahead of the keynote. Appears that the iPhone 14 Max was indeed planned for the name of the device, but Plus decision was made relatively close to launch. As we know, the iPhone 14 Plus, which is still not out yet, it's supposed to be out in October. There's going to be something of a lower cost, larger size 6.7-inch screen. Because everybody who wants the larger size screen would be going with the Max, which of course it's the Pro, and it's going to be expensive and higher priced. So, interesting to see that Apple did not call it Max, and I kind of think in my opinion, I think that was probably a smart move on their part, because all it was going to do is cause major confusion between the two models, honestly, because you're not going to think, oh, I have the iPhone 14 Max, no, wait, I have the Pro Max. So I think this is good on their part, and of course the article goes through and goes through all the bowels of Apple's website to try to find all this naming crazy stuff. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm with you. Not calling the iPhone 14 big, iPhone 14 Max is smart, because people are going to get confused. So calling it the Plus, yeah, that makes sense. Having it happen this close to launch, the change happened this close to launch. I mean, they took it right down to the wire, because you're printing materials with the product name, including packaging. And so they I bet made the decision at the very last minute where they could, because they had to get printing presses running too.
First of all,
What do you think?
Blackbird was a movie, the show. Which
Ah,
was
right.
I know it's good. Yeah, I mean, who's keeping track of the namings at this point, and who cares? They go between Plus and Max and blah blah blah. The funny thing is, no, they don't, not anymore. The funny thing is they do the if you notice with the phone case makers, especially like Insignia, what I'll find is when they come out pretty early, they don't they say for the new iPhone 6 point whatever, and for the new iPhone 5 point whatever, because I don't think Apple tells these names to anybody until like really the last minute, because I think some vendors do get the names shortly before, because you'll see some people get the name right, and then a lot of others are just like for the iPhone big and the iPhone small, and they don't know the names of it. So but again, I mean, it even with the names the way they are, it still takes me about a half hour to explain to somebody the difference between all these phones. So like my wife, who's asking me which one again. All right, so we got this one. This one's more expensive. It's not an easy conversation anymore. So
yeah, no, it isn't.
No, it's not.
A couple iOS 16, iPhone 14 stories here. iOS 16, the game-changing CAPTCHA bypass is about to get even better.
Anything would be better.
Anything would be better, yes. The complete automated the complete automated public turning test to tell computers and humans apart is one of the internet's most annoying features, as we know, as CAPTCHA feature makes you identify yourself, especially those gosh darn pictures you got to do with Google's one, which I cannot stand.
Pictures aren't so bad that the letters that don't look like
letters. And you kind of look at
anything number. Yeah, it's horrible.
So we did report that the brilliant CAPTCHA bypass when the first betas came out, but it's now here with iOS 16, and it's going to be quite easy to set it up and forget it. All you got to do is you head over in the settings app and you tap your name in the iCloud settings and you look for password and security menu, and there you want to enable automatic verification. This will actually this is actually the CAPTCHA bypass that comes with iOS 16, and Apple describes it as bypass CAPTCHAs in app and on the web by allowing iCloud to automatically privately verify your device and account. As I hear you guys saying,
well, first of all, the whole point of a CAPTCHA is to make sure you're actually a human doing this. So automating the CAPTCHA process is sort of like, I am a robot. But I guess I am a robot because here's what I'm doing. So
it is automating it though, but through your device and your authentic device. So.
Right, because the definition of the CAPTCHA is basically, we're capturing this point of time to make sure you're not a person, to make sure you're a person. So if Apple's doing something that automates it, then it's not a captcha anymore. It's something different. So, but still,
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
I hate CAPTCHA.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
we all.
just-
I
I
think.
just hate
I think
captcha.
it's the consensus here on this panel.
Yeah.
you spend 20 minutes on a forum and then you hit the captcha thing and it's wrong, and then the whole forum
You lost the
restarts.
forum.
And then yeah. Now, am
Everything.
I remembering correctly that services that are using CAPTCHA, like web page logins or whatever that use CAPTCHA,
Mhm.
need to be updated to support what Apple is doing?
It must be, right? Unless it's using some kind of AI to process a captcha, which again, then you're a robot and you're not a human doing it. But again, you could easily see. I
Well-
don't understand why can't you write a program that does? I mean, how has this not been hacked at this point? Because we could read text. I mean, a computer could probably read text and numbers better than we can on that form, and probably could identify objects, because iPhoto is doing it. Photos are doing it. So I don't understand how we're not.
If you go look on YouTube, you can find people that have made machines
It's gotta be, yeah.
that
through
they
it,
actually have like a little robot hand, and so
Yeah.
they look at the caption and
Yeah.
then just hit the right
But even
squares
just a
in the
program
caption.
at this point, there's got to be.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, it says in this article that as easy it might be to bypass it in iOS 16, enabling the feature isn't enough to dispose of all of those captcha checks, because some websites and apps need to support private access token for the feature to work. So by saying, thankfully, Cloudflare has just announced a free API for companies so their websites and apps can eliminate
Oh, good.
captchas. So I think there's where it's going to be.
But again,
because I get my share of spams, trying to. And I have just a very basic captcha, not like a math question, and they still get through that.
You would
some
think we could
spam,
use
so-
biometrics at this point to authenticate to a captcha. It doesn't. I mean,
You would think.
we
Well, in
could
a
use
manner of speaking,
biometrics.
you are, because you're probably using Face ID to unlock your iPhone. So that was the biometrics, and
For this, yeah.
and I know that's kind of a stretch, but
Yeah, it is. Next story here is Apple might let you test iPhone 14 satellite connectivity.
Wow,
As we know, the iPhone 14 series has a new feature that's not available on any other iPhone that supports satellite connectivity. However, the functionality only works only if you have to use it. It's emergency SOS via satellite mode. And we've talked about this before with the cellular and Wi-Fi coverage that are absent, and it does only works in certain circumstances. But you kind of want to test it before you left and maybe make sure that it works. But right now, it isn't possible to test it at this moment right now. But Apple is rolling this out in November, and once the emergency SOS by satellite is available, some people might try to test it in some remote areas. But that also could lead to fake emergency calls, which is dangerous.
yeah. I mean, there's
Um,
nothing stopping anybody from doing a fake emergency call. We're
Yeah,
doing an
just like-
emergency. We're doing an emergency call in what they consider to be an emergency and not national
Right.
real emergency. So,
yeah, just
So-
like there's nothing stopping people from using 911
right.
inappropriately.
Except the difference is if 911 generally is not going to cost a couple of $1,000 to process that rescue or response, right? So like the satellite, I'm thinking once you do that, I think they ask you, right? They start talking to you. They're texting you before they send somebody out. Is that how it works? So the test is a good idea. So when you do the satellite and the call for help, I think you get a text saying what's going on. I'm hoping, and they don't just send out the Marines for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just
they-
like any service, someone's going to use it inappropriately, and then there will be news stories about how it's Apple's fault.
Oh no,
for,
Apple's going to charge them $5,000 before.
yeah. My guess is that if people are using this inappropriately, that
Oh yeah, they'll catch them.
they're going to get a bill, and
get a bill,
and
they've got to.
probably going to get charged with some sort of crime.
You would
Right.
think.
And you could, I mean, again, how many times have we accidentally almost called 911 on our phones with the button combination? I know I did cleaning it a few times and it went, "Weep," and it's like, about to call emergency. I'm like, please don't. I'm just cleaning it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's, there could this go off by accident? I mean, who knows? It's a whole thing out there, but
Yeah, I think it would
But
be
the-
harder for this to go off by accident, but still, I mean, your point stands. There's the possibility someone could screw up and completely unintentionally point their phone
absolutely.
at a satellite,
Or somebody who
and
never
send a
heard with this
message.
feature. Yeah. And somebody never heard this feature and was playing with their phone. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The article does mention also that the 9 to 5 Mac had actually dug through the code of iOS 16.1 beta 3 and discovered a satellite connection demo feature that Apple never mentioned. And looks like that you will be able to actually do the test of emergency SOS via satellite feature on their headsets with actually calling first responders. So there you go.
Can we
So
pretend we're in danger, like pretend we're hanging off a big cliff when it's really just like a tiny
Yes,
rock?
Warren, you absolutely can.
I think we should
yes,
do that during the test.
you can do that. Absolutely.
Look,
So that's the news this week. Let's move on to topics and this week betas. We got new beta this week. This is iOS 16.1. There was beta 3. And a lot of other stuff that's being introduced, including the support for live activities, to interactive notification feature that lets you keep an eye on things happening in real time from the lock screen, and the iPhone 14 Pro and Dynamic Island. Number of other things that they've done. Introduced a clean energy charging feature in the US that designed to selectively charge when lower carbon emission electricity is available,
which we never figured out.
which we still haven't figured out. So what are you seeing so far, Warren, on this?
No, it's fine. Yeah, I put it on there and didn't notice anything, to be honest with you, for the last beta.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Okay. It looks like there are some expanding betas also with iPad OS. They are saying now that that Stage Manager will now be on older iPad Pro models. So 16.1, which I think is in beta 10 for iPad OS, is now going to expand Stage Manager, because we had that controversy where only M1 Pro iPad Pros were going to be able to use Stage Manager. Well, now the 2018 and the 2020 iPad Pro models will also be able to use it, and the iPad Air. So
Apple's
I
like,
think
see, we listen to you.
Yeah.
Of course, my Mini doesn't do anything different. The Mini 6, which has a faster processor than the older iPads. But I mean, again, it's a Mini. I don't even know how Stage Manager would even work on that.
Yeah. So it's definitely going
It'd be more
to
like Soapbox Manager.
Yeah. And then they also expanded the zoomed out feature display for older 11-inch iPad Pros. This latest beta release is also going to expand the display zoom option for the screen for those older models with the A12X and A12Z chips. Feature was only limited to the M1s. So I think Apple was listening to people still want to use their older iPads, and they're very well they should. I can understand an iPad it's 6 years old plus, but
if Apple was listening, they would
2 years.
not even worry about Stage Manager and put this stupid widgets like we could do on our iPhone on our iPads, like we really want to do.
Yeah.
I do find it really weird that Apple holds back those features.
Like
on the
seriously, the
iPad.
iPad's like made for that kind of stuff. It's a big display. You're gonna look and have a lot of widgets on your screen when you turn it on.
So why
boggles the mind.
artificially limit that to the iPhone?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. One other thing they have also added that this was discovered is the beta 3 and iOS 16.1 will let you preload in-app content after installing apps so they're ready to go. Apple has they added a new toggle in the App Store settings to allow you to automatically begin downloading their in-app content after they're downloaded and before a user launches it for the first time. Automatically running apps in the background to download content before you first launch it. The description of the toggle says, with this new option enabled, after a user installs on an app from the App Store, it will automatically begin running and in the background and download ready to go in the in-app content. So there's some benefits, some improvements there.
Has it not done that during a restore. I mean, after it installs the app, and then I've never had an app not have the content that it should have after restore. So I'm not even sure what that means. To be honest with you,
Yeah. So, well, but we're in beta. So we'll, did you, are you on the latest beta for your iPad, Jeff? Did you have anything, that's come
well,
across for you?
my beta iPad is old enough that the things that, of course, I really want to play with aren't supported.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but the beta is running just fine on
Okay.
on my old iPad Pro, and yeah, it just give us roll out the update, let us install it. I'm tired of waiting. I'm clearly impatient right now.
Yeah, wait. We want the latest greatest. We gotta get it out here. It should be out by now.
put the beta on. It's not going to be that much different.
Yeah, but
No.
my production iPad, just
No.
like my iPhone, Warren, the thing is, I'm not as brave as you are.
I maybe not, but I honestly 100% think that I had less problems on iOS 16 on the betas than you guys have on release software this time. I honestly believe that my experience has been a smoother experience, at least in the last 2 months for iOS 16. It could be
Yeah.
wrong, but it seemed I mean, I haven't cursed my phone once since it's been on beta. So
Well, that's a good thing. All right, so let's move on. I thought this was a good topic, and Jeff, you kind of inspired me to bring this up since you were talking about the switching cell phone carriers. You know, many of us in the U.S. we use the big three: T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. But what about these MVNO carriers? Okay, what the heck is MVNO, right? Well, it stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator, and it is a reseller for wireless communication services. You know, notably Mint Mobile, which uses the T-Mobile network actually, and Xfinity Mobile is another one, which uses the Verizon network. There are so many choices, but really, which one do you choose? Well, as I said, Jeff, you were thinking about Mint Mobile, and you know, Mint Mobile has been advertising quite a bit on various podcasts all around, so we're very, very well aware of their service. I've tried their service; it's very good. Ryan Reynolds, the actor, actually owns the company. So what really makes the best MVNOs, and really why would you choose them? Well, you know, I've been very happy with T-Mobile. I know, Warren, you've been to T-Mobile, and I believe currently, Jeff, you're with AT&T, right? And
yes.
What's motivating you to switch?
Well, okay, so there's two things. The first thing is after I ran the numbers, my cell phone bill monthly will decrease by 75% by switching from AT&T.
to what? To anything?
To switching to Mint from
Mint Mobile.
Because switching from AT&T to Verizon will not. Verizon's the most expensive.
Yeah.
It's
going to
historically has
Verizon,
been,
I think I'd actually pay more. So yeah,
you would, but
but going to Mint, that would save me 75% monthly. And the other thing that got me thinking about this, started sending me down the path of actually really looking at MVNOs was a friend who is in support hell with Verizon and hasn't been able to use their cell phone, their iPhone, for a solid week.
Oh my gosh.
And the problem, without going into all the details, is totally on Verizon's side. They have completely screwed up the person's account, and they keep saying, well, now we have to wait another 24 hours to see if what we tried fixed it. And this has been going on for a week. So I started researching alternatives to help them out. And in the process, I'm like, well, why am I really on AT&T? And then looking at Mint Mobile, I was like, well, actually, why am I not on Mint Mobile?
Right.
So what do you get with Mint Mobile that you don't get with T-Mobile?
Well, you get a pretty incredible break of price. I mean, you got 4 gigs of data for $20 a month, or 10 gigs of data for $25 a month. And
it's exactly the same as T-Mobile. Exactly. I mean, that's what we're paying per line. So I mean, it's the same price, and T-Mobile seems to give you a whole bunch of perks, which you're getting with Mint Mobile too. Is that you get the Netflix, and you keep saying T-Mobile? Do you
The
have
one thing
T-Mobile?
you
Right.
can't do, well, I mean, you don't get the bundled
No.
Netflix with Mint
Right.
You don't
Mobile.
get any of the
That's-
T-Mobile perks. I mean, Mint Mobile just uses the T-Mobile network. They have no
Right, but that's
affiliation.
$10 a month right there that we would be paying that, So if you want to, just include Netflix, and there's plenty more that we use, a lot on T-Mobile. That's $10 right
Well,
there.
I mean,
for T-Mobile.
I'm on a family plan where we have 6 lines. I'm paying $40 a person
On Mint,
on T-Mobile.
so you don't have Mint.
No, I do not have Mint.
Okay,
No.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. Okay, you have the
No,
T-Mobile.
no, Jeff was considering it. I tried it. I've tried it. I've had it as a secondary source
Right,
just to
and
try
I'm
it
sure
out.
the service itself, the cell phone service is T-Mobile. It's going to be exactly the same as
Right.
T-Mobile.
Yeah, so
is.
Warren, I'm
But-
looking at the pricing.
But the bundles is what I mean, normally I'm not a big bundle fan, but the Netflix alone is going to be worth the $10 a month extra. So
Y-
because we're taking that, we're buying it, either way.
so the problem for me, Warren,
Mhm.
is that, well, besides the fact that my office manager just knocked my keyboard off my desk,
Fire.
is that cell phone plans for me are single line, single user,
Right.
not
Right.
family plans. And when you're on a family plan, that's where they
Right.
get the pricing gets more affordable.
Mhm.
So a single user plan for me on any of the main carriers is going to run at least $80 a month.
But with that in mind, what are you still on you have the iPhone 12 or 13? I forget.
I have the 12 Pro.
I mean, any of these providers will give you like free phones to add a line. I mean, when you add a line on a new cell phone provider, you'll get a free phone or almost a free phone, because that's what they do. And even
Right. And now
T-Mobile,
I'm paying for an extra line.
well, you'll cancel the other one out.
And now I'm back to a single user plan.
$80.
You're back to a single user plan, but you got a $1,000 phone for free. So you factored that into your yearly cost. And it's not
Or
bad.
I could switch to Mint Mobile
Yeah, think
and
about it.
save basically $800 a year and do what I do anyhow and buy my phone outright.
Or you could have the free phone. It washes out, right? So if you were thinking about getting the phone either way, you're going to get $1,000 back from T-Mobile. They'll give you $1,000 to sign up, and they'll give you a phone. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's I haven't priced out a single family plan, but I know T-Mobile has been the best cost of any of the plans we've had so far, and definitely the best perks that they've had out there. So far.
It doesn't hurt to take a look at T-Mobile. I
Yeah.
mean, but I agree with Jeff. The single line plans are just not too cost efficient for
How much is a
the three
single-
big carriers.
How much is-
I mean, you got Google Fi, you've got all these other services. Metro by T-Mobile is another MVNO that T-Mobile actually owns. So you really have to just look at it. I mean, even Mint has as an unlimited plan for data for $40 a month. So pay what I'm paying right now and get unlimited data. I mean, granted, the unlimited data probably will be capped at probably 50 gigs. I would think that's usually the case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, unlimited data is never unlimited data. It's
right.
it always gets throttled at some point.
They really
Right.
do.
And in the
they
case
really
of
do.
my Magenta plan, I've got I boosted up after being in T-Mobile's old plan. Now for my family, they're giving us 100 gigabytes before they'll throttle. So which I think is a spectacular deal. And then each one of us is paying $40 a month.
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I haven't priced it in a while, but T-Mobile to sign up now is a lot more expensive than it was when we must have gotten some great deal when we signed up, because
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
yeah, because we're paying about half of what they're advertising now, at least.
Yeah. And for me, what I'd really be giving up, and I haven't committed yet myself to,
Right, of
to
course
going down this path, but what I would be giving up is HBO Max which is bundled with
Right,
with
'cause
T-Mobile, but that's probably going away anyhow.
as I was saying, because AT&T no longer owns Warner
Right.
Media.
Right.
Right.
And I've been paying for Netflix separately anyhow. For forever.
Yep.
So yeah. So yes, I give up HBO Max. Um,
Yeah.
and there is the thing where you if you're in an area where there's super high cellular traffic, like you're at a conference or a concert, and everyone is trying to be on the network at the same time, the non-MVNO users will get data priority.
Mhm.
So people on the MVNO, they might see some sort of performance hit on their data usage. It won't have any impact on voice usage.
Hmm.
So that's something to keep in mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
We all need to move
So-
to Europe because the cell phone plans were better and cheaper.
I mean, the other thing I don't know if you've tested T-Mobile's network in your area in Colorado, Jeff, but it depends, on the coverage too. Some
It
carriers
does.
are worse than others. So
Yeah, and like so many other places, you choose your cell service provider based on who actually can cover you where you use your phone the most.
exactly.
And where I am in Boulder, for a long time, that meant you had to be on AT&T, which worked out because that's what I was already on.
Right.
But I
don't get
could go like 2 blocks and then it would be Verizon.
I don't
So
get
you'd have to
I get
have-
like half a bar of service in my house and here. So I do not get good T-Mobile service inside my house. I mean, it's not a big deal because we have Wi-Fi, but if I
right.
go 2 blocks outside my house, I get 600 gig up and down. So I mean,
5G.
it's you talk about hyperlocal weather, it's hyperlocal data too.
Absolutely.
It's really hard to. I've had people ask me all the time, and we're on this like group page on Facebook, and they're all in the neighborhood of which cell phone is best. And I say, literally, if it's good here, move to the left 2 feet, and it may not be. So I mean, it's really
right.
it's really hard to gauge it anymore. So you just got to go with what I don't tell people to worry about the service they're going to get because it's all pretty crappy, to be honest with me. I think. But just get whatever's good.
Yeah, but as
I mean,
5G's been
try it
rolling out, it's been making a big difference on what you can effectively use around me. So, yeah. So now AT&T and T-Mobile are pretty much equal for coverage for the places where I use my phone the most.
Yeah.
Verizon would be good in a lot of those places too, but there's no way I would ever consider signing up for Verizon.
Yeah, I've not a fan of Verizon either. But think about these MVNOs. You're not stuck in a contract. You can try it for a month. Either get a SIM card, or if you have an iPhone 14, you can add the eSIM to it. Try it. See how it works for you. If it's got good coverage, then you're happy. And I don't know what it costs you. You could try just the basic plan for $10 or $15 for the month and give it a shot and see where it goes. Now, some of these other carriers, they actually piggyback on multiple networks. Like in the case of Google Fi, it's T-Mobile and US Cellular, and like Ting, they use I believe it's Verizon and T-Mobile together, one or the other, which is interesting when you look at these MVNOs. So now they look at which is going to be the best carrier for you, for your bang for your buck, for the matter of your area of coverage. So you can have something like Ting, and then you have, is Verizon better? They'll put you on Verizon. T-Mobile's better. They'll put you on there. So then, but there's
a
so
whole
many.
bunch of them, too. There's more out there. Like if you go to Target, there's like 4 or 5
like
you can find.
Consumer Cellular, Straight Talk. There's just so many of them. It's crazy. And I have a link here in the show notes that's going through this pretty extensive list of so many of the MVNOs are out there.
And yeah, there's over 100 right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy. Crazy amounts. And Like you go to Walmart, they have that Straight Talk. You see those for the seniors. You see they always advertising for that consumer's cellular. I was like, I don't know if I want to be using a carrier like that.
Yeah, I seem to watch the shows, the television shows that cater to those people. So I guess I'm getting there. I'm getting we're getting consumer cellular level and the jitterbug.
Yeah,
with the jitterbug phone.
So check that out, that link out in the show notes. And I thought this was a good way to kind of give people a bit of a guide for their iPhone and what's best for them. And hopefully, Jeff, you'll find if you find and decide to go with Mint and try it, and you can report back to us. That'd be great.
I'm thinking at this point, there's a very high likelihood that I'll switch to Mint.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding the timing that works best, because there's the window, which should only be a few minutes, where you don't have coverage at all. But if something goes wrong, well, it could be hours or longer. And right now, I can't risk having my phone not working, because there's it's one of those
get
windows.
The 14 with the satellite, and you'll be fine. You got to get the satellite phone, and you don't have to worry about that.
Well, it's the incoming calls that matters right now.
But Jeff, there's no service out there at all that has. When I drive to the beach on T-Mobile, there's a good 15-20 minutes of dead T-Mobile, and this is on like I-95. It's not like the
sure, and but that's not what I'm worried about. It's if I do the switch and something goes wrong, and there's just no way to avoid not having service for a window of time where I have no control over it. That's where the problem would be. But that
I used to tell my wife that we're not going to a certain food store because they don't have a good cell service in there, but then they got Wi-Fi and now we're allowed to go in.
And so now you have to go.
No, we can't go.
They installed it just to spite you.
Well, no, it was like CVS that had the same situation. They installed Wi-Fi finally because people were trying to use the stupid CVS app with half a bar service, and because it was a dead zone, and like the staff was looking at each other like we were all like,
but they are saving 40%.
So there's that.
All right. So let's move on. I wanted to talk a little bit about iPhone cases. There's so many of them to choose from, and I know, Warren, you've used the Apple cases as well as I have for many years, and I just find that Apple has really just done a poor job with those cases. They always would, after only a few months, they'd start wearing out on me, and I just kind of gave up on them. I don't buy them anymore. But there are a number of cases that are out there. I mean, there's numbers of them that are out there that you can start off with. But one of the cases I really like, and I think a lot of our friends like them, is a SpinGen. This is the box here. I have it on the camera here, and I have the clear. This is the clear case, which is MagSafe, and I think this is a very good basic case. It's nice, protects the iPhone really well. And I like clear cases. I want to see the color, because that's what I say. We buy these iPhones with colors, and we just put a case on it, you never see it. So
or vice versa. You buy a
or
phone,
vice versa. So
you buy a phone that you don't like the color, and you buy a case that you like the color.
Yeah,
that's what I do
to cover it up. So but they make very good quality cases. And again, we'll have links in the show notes for all these cases. This one is like around $24 from Amazon, which is great. But I really like Spec. I've always been using Spec cases for a long time. They make some really good ones. The one I've got on my iPhone right now is a clear one, but it's got kind of the tint color to it. If you can kind of see it, which makes it kind of cool, but you still can see, the color as I show it. But they have different styles. I mean, this one is really durable. I mean, the iPhone 13 Pro Max last year, I was kind of disappointed in with the case. I was really bummed about it because the buttons were very stiff. They were not pushing very well, especially when you're doing Apple Pay and you've got to tap your button to approve your purchase, and the thing it's not pushing. But this year's model for the 14 Pro Max has gotten really has worked out really well. They've got a number of the models here. This is that was what's called the Perfect Clear, which is nice and perfectly clear. They got a nice little speckle case like this one here, where you want to have the specs, and the gals like this crazy stuff with these. So
Calls.
yeah, it's all the, with the glitter. So but then they
Nice.
have the other models. That's the Pro model where it's even more durable plastic. That's like this one here, and put more durability inside the case, which is nice. And then they have the grip, which is this one here, and that's got the grips around it. But again, these are solid colors, and I prefer the color ones here when it comes to these cases. So you get, on average, the spec cases, you can get them on Amazon for like around $34. So they're pretty decent pricing. Again, Warren, you're still using the Apple cases, right? You like the Apple cases?
I mean, I have a whole bunch of non-Apple ones. So
I mean, I know you're crazy case and band. I've seen your pictures. So.
the bands are good because I could keep using them. The cases that are a yearly sad. It's a yearly sad thing for me because
it's a fire sale every year.
I'm not even like, well, like you were saying, I have a couple of Apple cases for the 13, and they don't look good anymore. Like you said, they crap out.
I mean, Apple. I'm very disappointed with Apple's cases. It's very surprising.
When I got the new green one, it's like, oh, it looks so great now. Like, but already the
starting to wear, right?
Well, the MagSafe ring is already there. That's the first thing that comes, right? You get the MagSafe imprint on the back, and then it just starts to chafe, but whatever.
It's a shame.
So my son has a Nomad leather for his where he had it. Now he has to get a new one because he just got the 14, so he's upset. But I've had a few specs. I've had a few peels, and I've almost bought. They had a sale yesterday. I almost bought one. The peels are interesting for those that don't know. It's almost a super thin plastic is best I could explain it. And the peels are nice, except at that time, I don't know about now, but they weren't real MagSafe. They're thin enough where you could charge it with a MagSafe, but not thin enough where you could mount it on like a car mount and it wouldn't fall off. So that's why I'm only going true MagSafe at this point. I have a few of those like MagSafe kits that you could buy on Amazon, which is basically the ring that you could stick on a case, which kind of works too. So I've had lots of cases. I've had the Apple clear case. I've had the spec clear case. I've had I had the peel clear case. They bother me because after a while they're just fingerprinting and scratching.
Yeah, I know.
And no matter which, I haven't had any, luck with even the more expensive ones not getting crapped up. So and you could see it. I mean, that's the problem. It's like, other cases kind of get scratched up too, but you don't notice as much. But when it's a clear case and you're looking through it, you see scratches and fingerprints all the time. So So one thing I did do a few times, which I might do again, which was neat, and even Nomad has it now too. But if you go to like D brand or something like that, and Nomad has their own version too, which is basically it's a leather skin that you put on. It's their leather Nomad skin that I did. You put it on the back of your phone because I have a screen protector on it. Technically, the only thing I really worry about, I don't worry about dropping as much as I worry about scratching it. So, if I put the thing on the back of it, and I've had a few like one of those bumpers cases that just are the outside of it. So if you get the leather, sticker or D brand sticker and that bumper case, it makes a really nice presentation of a phone. It looks it's a slick of it. It's almost true size, which I like too. It's smaller. It almost feels small. So I might do that again. And obviously that works well with MagSafe, very well with MagSafe because it's just a sticker.
Yeah, I love MagSafe. I mean, I have this case on camera here. It's probably hard to see, but this is from my 13 Pro Max from last year, and it's got its share of scratches and use, but in overall the case is in great shape. It really lasted. So other than the fact, like I said, the button was a lot stiffer, and I still can feel that. It's crazy.
I mean, they all
bad that
last.
was last year, but
I never had a
but
case.
I was saying, but it
heavy.
doesn't look that bad. Like I said, the Apple cases just bothered me.
I mean, I've
What
never
about
had
you,
a
Jeff?
case physically break, like crack or anything like that. They just,
Yeah, no,
like you
just
said,
the bottom wears, and it
it looks crappy. Yeah.
especially when you pay sometimes $60 for one of those leather cases. So
Mhm.
The MagSafe battery pack for the last few phone, I think I had one that was, the thing looked like it was put into a lawnmower, and I still had it on my phone because like the rubber just kept peeling off.
right.
If you remember, the rubber just keeps peeling off it. So
Yep.
Mhm.
Remember that. Now, what about you, Jeff? What cases are the really the stand out for you?
Well, I cannot, in good conscience, recommend Apple cases to anyone,
Good.
and I used Apple cases off and on quite a bit over the years. What I'm using on my iPhone right now, because I had tried another Apple case again. I got the silicone case for the iPhone 12 Pro, and it lasted about a year and a half before it was doing nothing for the phone anymore. It was just disintegrating. So I ended up getting a Spigen case for it.
Yeah, like the one this clear one
Yeah.
I bought too.
And since it was for the iPhone 12 and not the 13
Yeah.
at the time, it cost $11 from Amazon. And it's a much better case all the way around. I've used spec cases a lot, and I've had really good luck with those as well.
Mhm.
If you're doing stuff where your phone is going to be in a more potentially hazardous for the phone environment, I've had really good luck with some OtterBox cases.
Yeah. Oh, they're really good too.
Yeah,
they're
Yeah.
heavy and bulky.
they're heavy.
They're bulky. They are bulky.
Yeah, but if you need a case where your phone can take a serious fall, like 20 feet off a cliff, as if that would ever happen, watch out, here goes the office manager. Anyhow, so when my iPhone, what I'm saying is when my iPhone fell off a ledge when I was doing a hike, and it fell 20 feet down, it was just rock all the way down, straight drop, hit the ground, and the case was definitely dinged up some, the OtterBox case, but the phone was totally fine inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's great about the OtterBox.
Yep. And I've had good luck with Nomad cases as well. Who does the book? Is that Nomad or 12 South?
12 South. 12 South.
I've used book cases before.
I've had a few of them too. They're nice. They're again bulky too. But the 12 Soft had the wallet cases I used to put on my phone, and they were nice. They were nice for a while. I don't know if the new phones do it, but the old phones used to have tap to close just like an iPad. I think you can still do it. I think it still has a magnet on there. So the iPhone will lock when you close the lid on that.
Oh yeah.
Like an iPad. But yeah, they're nice until you want to use it in your car and you have to mount it in your car with the because then you got a flap.
Or if you take a lot of photos with your iPhone, the flap is kind of in the way.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's kind of our review of some of the cases. I want to move on real quick here and talk about the AirPods Pro. I did purchase and have the new AirPods Pro, the second gen, which I'm pretty happy with at this point. Other than had a little snafu earlier, but I think it was more my fault than it was the AirPods. But
you missed out on the great conversation Warren and I were having.
Yeah, it was a good one. I'll have to keep that in there.
We were talking about not to get the AirPods too. No,
we're I'm definitely noticing a bit of a difference as far as sound quality between the AirPods first gen versus the second gen. I mean, the active noise cancellation is very good. I mean, I did do some tests when it came to going into a very loud location. That wasn't the jackhammer like it was at the Apple event, but I definitely notice it really isolates the sound even more than ever than the previous gen.
I still haven't
AirPods.
seen the Apple event. They actually used jackhammering as an
Mhm.
example of how
Yep.
good the noise
She walked-
canceling is.
She walked
Yeah.
right behind it, right in
And
front of it.
That's kind of
it was
ballsy.
extreme
It was
jackhammering.
extreme jackhammering.
Yeah, because that was the theme of the show.
So they did add a lanyard connection here, but of course it doesn't come with the lanyard, which is kind of
Apple
silly.
doesn't even sell one.
Yeah, I think it's third party for $13, which is no crazy stuff. You're gonna go find someone might be giving away a lanyard if I really want it. There was an article that someone did an actual X-ray of this case, and it actually shows a wire that's going down below on the other end. And you kind of wondering what that is. Maybe it was an antenna of some sort, or maybe because of the new Find My, because of course and I am showing on camera here. It, of course, has the three speakers at the bottom here, and the Find My does work really well. I did have no problems when I ran it. I swear, if I gotta be really careful, I open this, I just won't be able to hear you again. I'll probably screw it up. But if you match the two cases next to each other, they look. I mean, that's what's kind of bizarre is they look exactly the same. And if you put them next to each other, if you didn't look closer, you'd think it's the same thing. So Apple really didn't make a lot of change to the case itself, but I think overall, I mean, I like the fact that they added that you can do the volume control by just moving down with your finger on the stem on that. So and as well as because the other ones you had to actually double tap it to get it to stop and start. So you've got some more controls with that. The ear pads that go in, you got sizes from extra small all the way up to extra large. These were mediums and actually fit perfectly for me. So and it did the sound, it did the sound ear tip test and worked perfectly. So, but overall, if you already have an AirPods Pro first gen, I don't know if you generally would really need to purchase them. I think they're probably still fine. But if you have a pair that's starting to be a little thin on the battery life, you might want to consider them. I mean, you do have other options. You have the AirPods 2 and you have the AirPods Pro 3 as far as that as well. So so definitely check those out. And then Jeff, you had some more thoughts.
I'm enjoying hearing your take on the AirPods Pro 2 because getting Apple's marketing talk, I mean, that doesn't tell you how it really works for people in
Right.
real life. And I'm thinking that I would love the second gen. At the same time, I can't justify getting the second gen.
Okay.
I think if I were traveling like I used to, where it was like 2 trips a month, sometimes more, then spending that much time on a plane, yeah, the better noise canceling would be worth it. But I think for now, my feeling is if you already have AirPods Pro and they are meeting your needs, then
Yep, that's what I said.
no need to get the second gen.
Yep, I definitely agree with that thought. So, but check them out. I mean, maybe go into the Apple Store and give them a listen. I'm sure they do have demos, and you can check them out. So you don't have to jump in and buy them right out the bat, or you can buy them and return them if you're not happy with them. Apple's very generous with that. So, but again, if you already have AirPods Pro you're happy with, or AirPods for that matter, then no reason to really upgrade, in my opinion. But I had these for 3 years, so it was time. I thought I was due. So that's me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So next thing I want to talk about real quick, and Jeff, you posted this on social media, so it inspired me to want to talk about this a little further.
What'd I say this time?
Oh, you said something crazy, but it's actually about the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch, there's we've got some news stories, but I also wanted to talk about what your thoughts were. I saw that you went to your local Apple store and tried on the Ultra and with your Series 8 that you just got. And I'd like to know, I still need to go to the store and check it out. I know what I'm waiting for here, because I really would like to at least check it out. I don't think I'd buy it, but I'm gonna have to resist. But what was your initial thoughts? It's a big watch, the Ultra.
It's a big watch. I mean, it is a big watch, and you can really feel the weight. You definitely need to go check it out, though. It is
Yeah.
worth the trip to the store just to play with one.
Yeah.
The screen is beautiful,
Yep.
and the watch band options, I mean, they're nice.
Mhm.
The fact that it works with existing Apple Watch bands
I love that.
is nice too. Although based on what I was seeing what playing in the store, I would not recommend using current Apple Watch bands on the Ultra if you're actually going out and doing physical sport, whatever activities. You use the Ultra specific bands,
Right.
and yeah, that screen is nice and it is big. So the photo that I posted online was my 41 millimeter Series 8 with the Ultra next to it. And putting the Ultra on, it makes it look like I have a little kid's arm. I mean, it is a big fracking watch.
I'll grab that photo. We'll put it in the show notes so everybody can see it. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
yeah, it was. It did look big.
I can't see this as a daily watch, although there were people in the store that were clearly planning on buying this as their daily watch, and they just and keep in mind, anecdotal, because it was me in the store for about half an hour playing with the watch. During that half hour, the guys that were looking at buying the watch were not going to be using it for outdoor activity. They just wanted a really cool looking Apple Watch. And there's nothing wrong with that. But man, that's a big hunk of gear to wear on your wrist all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like big watches even before this came out. I mean,
oh yeah,
I never did, but I mean, I had a G-Shock here and there growing up, and that was big at the time.
Yeah, those were big watches at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I can't do it. I just wouldn't feel like I'd be lying to myself if I bought an Apple Watch Ultra. To be honest with you, I would just feel there's some things in my life that it just doesn't fit with me, and I would love the big screen, but there's just something about it that makes me feel like it's better suited for somebody not like me. But yeah.
One of the use cases for me, and there are legit use cases for me with this, but it would have to be a second watch, not my primary. There's actually drawbacks to the use cases for me, because one of the things I would want with this watch is to use it like when I'm out snowshoeing or skiing
or mountain climbing,
and well, in those cases it would go over my clothes, which means that some of the things that I want it to do, like like monitor my heart rate and stuff, that's not going to happen.
I don't even think it's going to unlock. You would have to
you have to go into the settings and turn off wrist detection, so you can manually unlock it, and then it'll stay unlocked.
But then if you drop it, then somebody could have it.
Well, if you drop it, then you probably have bigger problems, because it actually takes effort to get this thing on and off. So if you drop it, you're probably scrambling trying to figure out where your hand went.
That's right.
But yeah, some of the use case for me, it isn't there, because
you can use Find My Watch to find it.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
Where's my hand? Oh, let me turn on Is there a Find My Watch? There's a Find My Phone from the watch. I don't know. You can't ping your watch from.
Hey Siri, where's my Apple Watch?
Sorry, you'll need to check for their location in the Find My iPhone app.
It says it's in a Find My app. That's right. You can go to
it's the Find My.
Yeah, I couldn't hear my HomePod very well, but it sounded like it
said you have to go in the Find My app.
It was mine. Yeah, mine came up, and if you go to Find My app, you could see the last place the watch was, but you can't make it to any. Can you make it? Yeah, you can make
sorry to everyone who just had their HomePod. Tell them to go look in the app.
So wrapping up here, I want to make sure the Apple Watch Ultra is what, $799. I mean, it's a nice watch. I from just what I've seen so far. One thing notable, I have an article here that I wanted to mention is I think it's a must to have Apple Care on it, Apple Care Plus on it, because if something were to happen to that watch, it's $499 just to repair it. So
So my
well worth-
guideline on Apple
well
Care
worth it.
Plus is if you're buying a device from Apple that has a screen and is mobile,
Buy it.
then you have to buy Apple Care.
That's my
Yeah.
advice too. So
Yep.
my
Same.
laptops, my watch.
Laptops, iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches. Get
See,
Apple
I don't
Care.
do I don't
it's
do
mobile.
iPads really because I don't really take them out. To be honest with you, the iPads. But yeah, the phone, the watch, and the laptops definitely I put it on there. Not on my. I would never do a Mac. I have the Mac Mini. Never on the Mac Mini. Apple TV.
Yeah.
That's just silly.
Yeah,
That's just-
it's silly. So, all right, I think we had some great discussions this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for this week. Well, that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address. It's feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can also become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios, where we have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming on our YouTube channel, which is on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, at youtube.com/intouchwithios. And you can also watch and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into the magazine. The link is on our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Mimir, Pocket Casts, Overcast, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Jeff Gamet, as always, so great to come to the show. Where can people find you?
It's always great to get to hang out with you and Warren. People can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Jay Gamet on all of those. Tuesdays, a lot of Tuesdays. Well, with both of you on Mac
Yep.
Voices Live on Chuck Joyner Show. Thursdays earlier in the day on the Big Show, then Fridays on the Mac Show. Most Thursdays here again with both of you, and then also on the Context Machine with Brian Chaffin.
Good stuff. Thanks for being here. And Warren Sklar, looking up, something must be a bug or something. Where can people find you?
There's a laser pointer that's moving around and it's
Yeah.
got his attention.
I soundproof my basement, and one of the tiles it won't stay on no matter what I do. So I bought some super sticky things from Amazon.
Until it
It's
falls
gonna-
and hits you on the head.
Well, it will. It's about to. I put it up there. This one tile just won't stay up there no matter what I'll do. So it's going to hit me in the head at some point. You can find me Chuck Show, Dave Show, Shit Show, wherever you want. So it's good. It's good to be here.
All right. Thanks for being here. And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show because we enjoyed doing it. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks, guys.
Leather.
Of course, I forgot to turn on audio hijack for the first 10 minutes.
Oh no.
That's why my earpods went out.
Oh no.
Oh,
I can see where that would be a problem.
that's
Leather.
all right.
Do you have
edit.
audio for the whole show?
Yeah. I record in the cloud here for Zoom. So I'll just grab it from
Okay.
there. Yeah, 3 backups. It's streaming on YouTube and there and there. So
They'll find us.
speaking of YouTube, no one's there, so I'm